to Change the Narrative. This is Kim.
What up, world? Change the Narrative is back, episode 32. Kim, what's good?
Man, we had devastating news this weekend, man. We lost Black Panther.
Man, T'Challa. Rest in peace, my man. He was a great man. He was a very inspiration to a lot of black people and inspire a lot of kids.
For sure.
MCU will take a big hit. I'm not sure how they're going to fill that shoes. But hey, man.
I'm not sure if I want them to.
That's true, too. But hey, you know what I'm saying? He left his legacy, man. And
that's for
us to move on from that. And because, hey, like I said, like things ain't slowing up. This year is one for the ages, straight up.
Correct. I mean, our nations are in turmoil, man.
Everywhere, man. It's worldwide. But just to look, this is a real recap on what's going on back at Belize, man. What's going on?
Well, we actually had our first real outbreak in Belize.
Yo, I saw that,
man.
I saw that. You know what's so crazy about that? We were supposed to be in Belize today. We were supposed to left to go to Belize today, but they pushed it back, and now they're talking about open up the country back now in October. But hey, man, it was, I don't know, it was kind of like a good thing and a bad thing because, like you stated, there's an outbreak right now, and I don't think they have any means or ways to get that under control. And before you know it, man, it can be like here.
Well, it's scary because it was only 2-3 weeks ago that they detected the first real community spread, which occurred in San Pedro.
Right.
But now we have over 900 cases.
Yeah,
so
going
clearly,
to 1,000. Yeah.
These are known cases.
And what's so scary to me most about it is the frontline workers now that are getting sick. You know, I mean, you start taking those people off the front line, man. These nurses, doctors, and what have you, man. You're going to lose a lot of people. A lot of lives going to be lost because these are the people that has the expertise to take care of this situation. And you start moving these people away, man. Like, how you expect the ill to get treated properly in this type of situation?
Now, that right there kind of annoys me a little bit. Because I really feel that even though we locked our country down for months, even though this pandemic is 7-8 months in, we weren't prepared.
And you know what's so crazy, man? You know what's so crazy? I agree with you on that. But we both have parents there, and you know they're not in the best of health, and it's starting to hit at home now. It's starting to be real scary. Living here in Georgia, we have over 200,000 cases, man. A lot of people. I mean, here in the States, we're averaging 1,000 people dying every day. So the situation is a real and a dire situation. It's nothing to be played with. I just don't understand how we dropped the ball so bad to the point now where it's just a wildfire. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I know you always say that we blame the government for everything, but Lamb, in the 4 months that we locked everything down, we didn't do anything. It just doesn't feel like we did what we needed to prepare to get PPEs testing, to put plans in place for when this comes. Did we really think it wouldn't reach our shores?
Well, I think the problem is before this even went into effect, you know what I mean, the government was already in financial straits.
True.
So money-wise, we were on a crunch already. You see what I'm saying?
But we were borrowing money left, right, and center from this thing started.
That's the problem. The money that they were borrowing, the money that they thought they got approved, got held up. So it wasn't a situation where, you know, they borrowed the money and it came immediately. The money is just starting to get rolled out, you know, now, to be honest with you. But like I was trying to explain to you, few episodes back, you know, one of the things that I always feared was the borders, man. I always felt like people was always talking about, well, you know, the disease would come to, you know, the airport from Americans. No, I always felt like people are not understanding, like Mexico and Guatemala, these places the outbreak is just as bad. And I always felt like if anything was to jump off, man, those places would have been where the holes are for Belize and where the outbreak will start from. And it's sad to see that's the case now. And it's hard to point fingers because at the end of the day, we're all Belizean.
Right.
And I always believe that it would have got there eventually.
Correct.
But what hurts me most, what hurts me most is, like you stated, they have no clue what to do at this point, man.
They don't. And what annoyed me, even before we actually had the outbreak, is I noticed that the way the perspective was, or the message we were sending was very lackadaisical, like we don't have it. We don't have to take the precautions. We don't have to wear a mask. We didn't put it into practice. It's like something that I tell my mom all the time. Here, we know everywhere we go, we need to put on a mask. We need to be careful because in our mind, it could be the person right next to us who have it, and that sense of urgency and that mentality is not what we had, which is why when the border jumping things start, it spreads so quickly.
And it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy because Belize has a large population of people who are elderly or past 55 and older. So, and not only that, Belize have a large population of people who are sick, obese, have diabetes, asthma, you can name it, what have you, you know what I mean? But so I don't understand how these people didn't make that calculation that, hey, man, like, I could put everybody at risk, you know what I'm saying?
Because they thought they were safe.
How can you? We not see what's going on around the world?
You know what? And this is proverbial bubble that everybody was living in, and it was driving us crazy even before we talked about that. And I try to warn
too, but hey, man, it's water on the bridge right now. I mean, we got to deal with the situation at hand. The government needs to, like I said, what he needs to do at this point is to set up a triage somewhere outside of the city and get these people away in a separate area. Stop having these people going to the KHMH. You know what I mean? They should have a separate area like how we have it here in the States where we're not even going to the hospital no more. They put us at a convention center, you know what I mean? And they deal with the sick there. If you keep sending these people to deal with, to have them treated at the hospital, not only are you going to lose a lot of doctors and nurses, but people who have other diseases will not be able to get taken care of because all your resources now is going towards COVID. And now you put everybody in the country now at serious risk. Be honest with you, I've known a couple people since this thing started that passed away from other illness that they had outside of COVID-19.
Because they didn't get the help.
Because they didn't get the help. And that was sad. We're talking about young people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That really hurts me to say that. You know what I mean? So I don't understand what's going into the planning or who's the one making the decisions. But I'm begging them, like, you guys got to seriously understand that you got to take the COVID patients, put them in Grace Rock or whatever. I don't know where is a good spot to put them, but just get them away from the National Hospital. Because you're creating an even worse situation. And people who have other pre-existing conditions, people who are already sick that needs help, those people will be an initial casualty to this nonsense. And that's what I'm noticing. The people that are dying already have pre-existing conditions. It's not until they're actually passing away they're finding out, hey, COVID has sped up that process and put them to bed. God knows where they got COVID. You know what I'm saying? God knows where they got it, and that's a whole nother situation. You know, because they're not even checking for that when they got it, or how they got it. You know what I'm saying? So they need to be more smarter in regards to how they're doing it right now, and that's what I'm begging for. Move those people away from KHMH. Have a makeshift hospital somewhere different, and have people who are specialized in dealing with this type of situation deal with those folks, man. Because from what I can see here, from here on out, with the flu season coming down the pike, it's going to get worse. If you think, people are talking about 1,000 right now. Oh man, it's going to be 5-6 times more than what it is right now.
It just feels real gloom and doom because it's I don't see how we're going to get this under control. I don't think nothing okay. So here in the U.S., we are hoping that there's a change in government and we can pass more sensible laws and stuff that will follow the science that will get us to a better place. And Belize, I just, we have an election, but even if we change government, I just help me see where we're going to get better.
The problem is, the people in Belize are trying to follow the CDC and the things that's going on here in the States, but our CDC now has become very political, so it's hard to even take a solid direction from the CDC at this point because they're all wrapped up in politics at this point. So in addition to that, we don't have that much experts to deal with this matter.
You mean
back home in Belize? You understand? We're talking to the same group of people that are, following the same CDC and the World WHO guidelines and so on and so forth. But there's, like I said, there's no real planning in regards to how we're going to deal with this issue strategically. You know what I'm saying?
We're being reactive.
We're being very reactive to everything. And because of that, man, I hate to say, man, we're going to lose a lot of lives, you know what I mean? Because, again, we're running into fall, you know what I mean? Winter is here pretty soon. we don't have the resources. We don't have the beds to deal with this stuff, or the PPEs to actually deal with this situation if it gets more out of hand.
Right, and I don't even know if our government is looking ahead to think about all that. I mean, I don't have the confidence that they are considering
they're looking ahead
where we are right now.
They're looking ahead for the next election, and that's it. You know what I mean? And at this point, I just feel like they are just throwing up their hands and they're done with it because, I mean, you see what's going on. I mean, they don't have no answers to what's going on at this point.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
So,
and look what's going on now with in regards to the trickle down effects. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now things are rolling downhill where our economic situation has become bleak, dire.
Mm-hmm.
All the airlines and all the major companies are taking major hits. All right, so what's going to happen in return? A lot of people are going to keep losing their jobs.
Right.
And it's not. And this is just the beginning.
Right.
Because from what it looks like now for a third world country like Belize, who are dealing with COVID at this point, this will roll into 2021. Mm-hmm. So a lot more people will lose their job. And I'm telling you, the government don't have enough money to deal with this situation for a whole year. Mm-hmm. So let's get that straight. They can't borrow their way out this situation. So what does it tell you now? The robbers and the gangsters and the thieves, they gonna do what they do because at the end of the day, they gotta eat, they gotta do what they gotta do, and it's gonna be chaos, man. It's gonna be people gotta protect their own. It's gonna be you against me against you, and it's not gonna be a pretty sight, and that's what we headed to, man.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is another aspect where I don't feel hopeful with regards to Belize. We're looking now and we're just seeing robbery especially art robbery is on the rise. So instead of during the pandemic where we actually are now feeling the effects that we try to work together, we are falling apart.
I mean, that's just natural. I mean, it's natural. What do you expect for people when they don't have no food? What do you expect for a nation that will start to just receive and don't know how to take care of themselves? We got away from our essence, from our roots, where we don't farm anymore. We don't even know how to be self-sufficient anymore. Everything is government relied on or our jobs. You know what I mean? So now we're in a situation where all that going to be cut from underneath our feet, and now we're going to be forced to try to figure this thing out. But for some, they're always going to try to find a short way out of the situation. And the short ways always lead to violence and crime. You know what I'm saying?
Right, which we are seeing a lot of. And, at least, here in the U.S., I mean, we are in a very dire situation, too, with regards to COVID.
Right.
And
we are averaging we're averaging 1,000 people dying every day. And that's why, listen, man, not to cut you up, but that's why I fear, because the way it works with COVID is, you know how it works, where it's the cases going to go up dramatically. And after 6 weeks, that's when you're going to start seeing the deaths.
Correct.
So the deaths will not start piling up until 6 to 7 weeks down the road. And 6 to 7 weeks down the road, man, we talking about late fall going into winter. And so that's what I'm thinking about, man. Like, yo, we about to hit this flu season. So you hit the flu season and the deaths start rolling in, man. It's gonna be hell to pay.
And you're talking about worldwide with regards to that.
I'm just talking about, worldwide, but I'm talking about Belize, because Belize is dealing with a situation late. You know what I mean? I heard people on the news talking about this is the second wave. We never have any wave. You know what I'm saying? This is your wave.
Yeah, I've heard that. This is
the first wave. The second wave is when that flu season starts, my man. So you people got to be understand fully what's going on. And I don't know how to tell people more bad news, but financially, a lot of people will go bankrupt. Financially, a lot of people won't have anything. And now you're talking about sending kids to school. Now you're talking about opening up the airport come October 1st. Mm-hmm. I don't see how they're gonna get out this one, man. I don't, and like you said, they're borrowing their way out this situation. So they're piling up on this debt. But when that money runs out, who else can you go run to? You know what I mean? Last thing you want to do is go run to these private investors, because now you're really in a bad situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This money's only limited, so it's just a dire situation, man. It's terrible, to be honest with you.
And I'm smiling, but I know it's not a laughing matter.
No.
It's just that you look at it and you see the things piling up, and you look around the world and you just see just nonsense on top of nonsense, and you're like, what is going on? I mean, here now, in addition to COVID, we're dealing with racism and social issues
here in the States, yeah.
in the States, and
but we got hope though, man. Like I said,
here
we got hope. We got people who are actually trying to fight the situation. People are starting to understand and realize that, hey, like we don't got time for games anymore. These politicians and this nonsense, this fear they're pushing, that's for the birds. You know what I'm saying? And people are starting to push back. People are looking forward to get this dude out of there. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope Belize understand what they got to do on their side, because elections have consequences. You understand? Nothing in this life is free. And if you make the wrong decisions, you got to deal with it how it comes, how the ball rolls.
Right.
And at this point, if you're not educating yourself in regards to how you gonna, what kind of future you want, and what kind of future you want left behind, then you're gonna perish, man. Because this ain't no time for games no more.
I'm waiting for Belize to change the narrative on that and develop that mentality right there, because I don't see that in Belize. I don't see that sense of urgency from people where they're like, enough is enough on anything.
Man, I think some of the young people want to rebel, but like I said, politics has such a grip on Belize. Like you said, everything is tied to politics, and the politician has always loved it, and they create an environment so it could be like that. I just hope, based on what's going on, they can develop a skill to be self-sufficient. That's what I'm trying to push now. You know what I mean? This is the time for people to be self-sufficient. This is the time for you to start to live off the land. This is the time for you to learn how to fish, how to make food from scratch. You know what I mean? This is the time to get rid of all the luxuries and cut back on spending and get back to the nitty-gritty.
So you're giving up on the whole concept of government reform and, take out all that
I'm not giving up.
Corruption.
I'm not giving up on that at all. That's something that needs to happen as soon as possible. And I'm talking directly to the people, because the people are not going to get help from the government. I'm talking about as a mass, as a whole. So for the people who are waiting for the government to try to solve this issue, or they're waiting for the government to give them a handout, or trying to, put food on their table, man, you got to start prepared for that. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And if you start to accept that reality, then you're going to start move towards doing some of the things I'm suggesting you do. And those things are, like I said, trying to be self-sufficient.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I see you. I guess you have to prioritize at this point in time.
At this point,
right?
I mean,
you
can't fight every battle right now. You got to fight the battle that's in front of you. And right now, this bleak, dire situation that's going on is something that, it's something that's going to affect us for a very long time. And I don't know how they're going to turn this around. And again, people are saying, the vaccine, when the vaccine hits, man, before it even hits Belize, it's going to probably take another year.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about that vaccine? You ready to take it when it comes out?
No. Again, even the vaccine has become a situation where it's political, where they're cutting, the FDA and so forth, are cutting steps to try to push out a vaccine that is not really fully vetted. I'm not with that, man, because I ain't gonna be guinea pig for nobody.
Yeah, they're getting desperate, Clint. I mean, look around.
Because of politics, because the election is November 3rd. That's all it is. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna risk my life for no vaccine based on that. You know what I'm saying? And I will hope they don't do that to my people in any one of these countries, because that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna use these people, the people who they think are disposable. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like us in the third world countries?
Exactly. And use us as a guinea pig.
We gotta be smarter than that.
Yeah.
Government better be smarter. Or people,
people in the whole gotta be smart. And that's why this show is for us to try to educate our people, try to get our people to understand that, hey man, these are the steps that you can take to try to weather the situation. And this is some bleak times, you know what I mean? Again, a lot's gonna happen. But this is also going to test who you are as an individual, and you're gonna come out strong on the back end of this situation. You know what I'm saying?
We have to. We have to. At this point in time, it's fight or flight. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
At this point, we got to be taking care of ourselves and our loved ones.
You're right, man. But what you think they're going to do about this crime situation? Because I think there's a possibility that this could get even worse when things get even more bleak. And I don't think they have enough jail cells to put some of these guys up.
You know what's crazy? The majority of the crime isn't even coming from the gang activity right now, is it? It's more
coming from regular people, man.
like you said, are desperate. And that's why I keep saying we got to make changes on that level. That is a fight to fight. I mean, we can walk and chew gum. We can deal with the fight of poverty and better
I hear
reform
that.
for government and all that
You
at
know,
the same
I
time.
heard, I hear Belizeans say that they can deal with poverty, but they don't never understand they can never deal with poverty on this level.
I didn't mean it that way.
Because that's the argument I've been getting from a lot of people back at the crib. But we could deal with poverty because we came from it and we can deal with it.
They say you deal with the devil you know.
Yeah, but you think you know that devil because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, Belize has again Belizeans at no point, especially the ones in the past. The Belizeans in the past knew how to take care of themselves. Belizeans in the past were self-sufficient. Belizeans in the past grew their own food. You know what I mean? Belizeans in the past know how to take care of their kids on limited resources. This new crop of Belizeans are so dependent on the internet, on light, on water, on cars. So I don't think they really understand what they're saying.
We used to survive on canned food and crackers.
That's what
we
I'm
were
saying.
good.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. These new Belizeans, man. Listen, man. If light goes out right now, we don't know what to do.
That's true.
We don't know what to do. You take away internet right now from a lot of these people, it's a wrap, man. They wouldn't know what to do. They don't know how to function.
That's why you're more worried about
That's why I'm
us
worried
now.
because I know it's going to turn to anarchy pretty soon. You know what I mean? I think
we're too small. I mean, we just cannot afford that.
man.
You know, in the U.S., it's easier to navigate through that kind of stuff. But in Belize, we're too small.
Let me tell you
for
something.
that.
Right now, everything is cosmetic. Right now, the reason why I say that is, you know, they still got a lot of these gangsters locked up, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm
they
saying?
need to stay there. I don't know
constitutionally
if we can do that.
You cannot lock these people up for the rest of their lives.
We can't pile on the gang activity along with the hungry people trying to rob somebody.
That's why let's have a real conversation to the people, because when those guys get out and they realize ain't no job, mama got no job, the kids, baby mama need money to feed the kids, and you know, so on and so forth, they're gonna do what they do best, man. You know what I mean? And it's gonna get ugly. You know what I mean? And I watch the police and so forth. They're gonna fight force with force, but they're gonna be outnumbered. You know what I mean? They're gonna be outnumbered.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get to the point where like, you notice what's going on now. Even the people in law enforcement or public servants are doing a bunch of illegal stuff too.
Yeah. You know what? That is terrible. I mean, now that you mentioned that, we've seen that quite often now.
That's what's going. Listen, man.
Sad.
That's going. All this stuff going to escalate. So you
see the desperation at all levels because they're doing it for some money to try to.
That's a natural reaction, man. It's just for every action is an equal reaction. This is a reaction to what's going on. It's going to escalate even more. So the same people that you're going to rely on and so forth to maintain order and so forth
and all that.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's going to go through the window because everybody going to be worrying about themselves and their family. You know what I mean? Once you start to prioritize yourself and your family first, you're going to do whatever you got to do to survive. You know what I mean? A lot of people already feel like these politicians only care about them and their own. Mm-hmm. So, you know, for them, they don't look at it like, hey, I'm just doing what I got to do at this point.
Do you think with the election around the corner that there's going to be any type of significant push to put food on tables? I mean, we know that during this time.
They're doing that now. They're doing that now. That's what the money they're getting from the World Bank and so on and so forth is for. Is to put food on the table to try to mitigate and help out some of these people who are struggling, but it's only like $15-16 million. You're talking about a country of 400,000 people. That's chump change, man.
Right. Lam, all I know is I better not start seeing a whole bunch of political campaigns and commercials on the TV right now.
I don't think you're gonna see that.
I better not start seeing that.
I don't think these guys are being that insensitive to the fact that they're gonna spend a lot of money on that. But the situation that I'm worrying about is right at hand right now. Is what are you gonna do with the people that are starving and struggling right now? As it is right now, I read something the other day where people in San Pedro are saying like, "Yo, if we don't get some food pretty soon, it's gonna be anarchy on that island."
Oh my! They're still locked down.
They're
the only place that is still locked down.
They're still locked down, and they ain't getting a lot of food.
No help.
And you saw what happened the other day when they all bunched up at that minister's office because people, and it was a crowded bunch of people. So they like, forget COVID-19, we need to eat. You know what I'm saying? Now imagine that escalate throughout the entire country.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
It won't be good. And you know who's going to perish the most out of this? The elder, the same people that we love and cherish the most. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're the ones that's going to perish the most, and no one is talking about it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one's talking about it. So let's see how this going to shape, man, and hopefully we could put, we can put put our minds together and try to come up with some, viable solution. But one of the things they should do is to get those people who are testing for COVID or who are COVID positive away from the national hospital, put them at a triage or a makeshift hospital away from the city, and start dealing with the other problems with people, the heart attack, diabetes, and so forth. Have them have access to the hospital because they cannot leave the country. So you're locking these people in the country without no resources. They don't have no money to travel. They don't have no money to do anything. So they're going to just die there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Give these people a shot. Give these people a chance. And get these people who have COVID away from the city. And let's see how that's going to work out. In addition to that, let's talk about how we're going to lock this thing back down some type of way. Well, and try to figure this thing out, man.
Well, one way, it's not a vaccine. You understand? Yeah. But it's individual responsibility.
That's through the window.
And that's one way. No, it can't be through the window. That's one way for us to lock it down. Stay at home. Wear your mask, social distance, and take care of yourself.
That was the moniker from the start.
But they haven't been doing it.
And that's my point. The people
but now they can. That's what I'm saying. If they do it, we can see changes.
Again, that's an expiring goal at this point.
I don't agree. I think we have to keep pushing for people to do that because we know that wearing your mask helps.
Of course.
It minimizes the spread. So we can't just say. Of course.
I know that's not going to stop people from crossing the border every day. I know that, you know what I'm saying? I know that the asymptomatic people who are already running around the city are still undetected.
And they need to be wearing their masks.
I know that. I also know that the contact tracing that they're doing is not sufficient enough.
I agree.
I also know that they're not doing enough testing. I also know that they don't have enough PPEs and money to take care of the situation. So,
agree.
Those plans and those ideas that you have was what it was from the start. We're in a different phase of the situation now. And now we're talking about kids going back to school. We're talking about the airport's going to be open pretty soon. And I just don't see no way out of it. And I'm just going to have to be real about it. The ship has already sailed from those precautionary measures. Let's deal with what it is now. We have to go on a more stringent measures. You know what I'm saying?
Which is what? You understand? I mean, we can't really come up with a solution for that. So I do not agree that you throw personal responsibility through the window. I think that is just one way along with finding something that will work. Stringent how? Lock it down again?
I'm not saying you should throw personal responsibilities under the bus, but because we took those measures, it didn't work.
Because we didn't do it.
We didn't. Not only that we didn't do it, but people are just not programmed like that. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the manpower to enforce. You know what I mean? Some of the things a lot of Belizeans have never been on the border. None of these borders in Orange Walk going up to Corazon. A lot of Belizeans have never been. Now you're talking about taking away these people's livelihood from that area, and that's all they know.
They also
in addition to that, you're not even giving these people enough food to survive. So what you want these people to do?
The PM disagrees with you on that.
You can disagree with me, but that's the reason why we the cases.
He is giving them food. They're just doing what they want.
Amen. Amen.
And not thinking about the safety of others.
They're not thinking about them. They're not.
They're patrolling the borders more?
From the start, they should have BDF and law enforcement on those borders. From the very start.
Well, we got to get that.
You understand what I'm saying? From the very start. So now, it's already there. That's my point. It's like, now you want to put measures in when it's already there. So, and you already know this disease is so contagious that, oh man, this transmission is going to be through the roof. For every one person that get it, they're infecting 10 to 12 people.
If they're not wearing their masks. I come back to personal responsibility. I just really think it could help. Meanwhile, we try to find something that actually will help us get through this. Because
Yeah.
at this point, I don't see us getting rid of it. So it's
Well,
getting through it.
but let's see, man. Hopefully we, wish, hope for the best, man, and hopefully we can turn this thing around and
For sure.
people are being, like you said, taking the personal responsibility more seriously, and we, hopefully we can get past this.
For sure. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
Hey, man, that's it.
Change your narrative. Wear your masks.
Be safe,
Kim,
man.
peace and out.
All right.